Hello, Libby. Hello, Noah. Hello, family. I'm in a frontier cemetery here in the desert. This is the Mojave Desert in California. You guys live way out over there. So maybe someday in your life you'll come out and visit this type of area and see it. Look at this. Doesn't this look like it's something out of a Wild Western movie? The old grave here with the wooden stuff around it over there. Look at that. Let me switch the camera. That's better. Look at that. It's all dilapidated down. It's got like a fence around it. Let's see. This one's in memory of William Hill from his friends, 1969 to 1901. So, gosh, this is over 100 years old. This one over here looks the same kind of thing, huh? All the wood. You have to be careful. John Dennison Rogers, native of New York, died September 10th, 1906, 70 years old. Again, another 100 years old. Look at this one's completely gone. There's some more interesting stuff over here. You know, some of the people that were buried out here, you know, they didn't have much. This was the town over here. Back then, it was like a railroad stop. You can see the train goes across here, and it goes all the way out where you guys live, way out there, long ways away. But you know, they didn't have much when they died, and so sometimes they would make their graves out of very, very curious things, like this one right here. This one is, check this out. Excuse me, I'm going to step right on their grave, but I don't think they mind. This is a piece of metal with her welded. Hoban, Eleanor Eunice. That's a name you don't hear too much. And I don't know how to figure out that date. 7/25, 8/67. I don't know, but it's just thin metal. And there's another one over here that's kind of interesting. So this one, they just kind of, this is for Hill, the Hills Brothers Ranch. And they just kind of took wet concrete and just carved it in there. Established 1950. Kenneth Hill and Dorothy Hill. But the one that I want to show you, and that one over there, it's got my uncle's name. I want to show you this one over here. This is for a woman who came to the desert. That's my bike. That's how I get out here. And this is, I'm going to step into this plot over here. This is for the Van Dyke family. And they befriended a woman who came in here all by herself because of her health. And she wound up living, do you see that patch over there, like all that green right over there? She ended up living there. That was the Van Dyke Ranch. And, whoops. This is Dick's Strong Van Dyke. He was the guy that, I think they might have had a little thing for each other. He died in 1952, born in 1879. And buried by his side here is the grave of Mary Beale. Now, when she was originally buried, there was no marker there. That was added later. This was just empty land, just her body. She was buried in the Van Dyke area. That's what this is, with that little perimeter there. Let's go around and have a look. And I'm fond of Mary because of her story, coming to the desert all by herself, falling in love with the botany, the plants of the desert. And then some people that admire her had this plaque made for her, Mary A. Beale, botanist of the Mojave Desert, 1878 to 1964. And there's a nice little illustration over there taking a photo of a plant, which she would then share around the world. So there she is. And there's my bike. And I've come out here today to get you guys some stones from the desert. So I sent that package of the books to your dad, and there were a couple rocks in there. And Libby, your dad said that you had thought that the little hematite was pretty neat. So I decided to go out and get you some. So what I'm going to do is head, again, out towards your way out there in those mountains. And then I'm going to ride my motorcycle out there. And this is the GS. And then I'm going to park the bike in at a ghost town. Ooh. And then I'm going to hike into the desert to the very edge, the edge of something. Ask your dad about what that edge is. And then I know where there's some hematite, like I sent your dad. And if I'm lucky, I'll find some petrified wood as well. So let's get on the bike and get to it. Off we go. This is all that remains of a former town. This is the wall of the ticket office for the railroad. That's the railroad over there, the BNSF. That's for the mountain that we're going to go to in just a little bit to get your rocks. But now you can see a lot of rubble here. But also, I want to take a brief trip over there to a little bridge. Let's go. Okay, so this is a little bridge that I call the writing bridge. I'm having a bad hair day. This is where I wrote a book. Your dad's got a copy, and if you take a look at the, I sent it to him, and I drew and then colored in with crayons a picture on the front. And if you look at that, you can see the bridge in the drawing. And it's in the first page. Just open the first page, and you can see it there. This bridge is there. That place we were just at, the place I parked the motorcycle, and now we're gonna go hike into the hills and see if we can find some good rocks for the two of you. But first I gotta figure out how to put on my new headgear to keep back my hair. So let me see if I can figure that out. Here we go, under the bridge. Let's see, down here, I have this chair that I keep here. And then I stash it over there. My daughter, she's a lot older than you guys. She's like 21 now. She did all of this. And then I did these notes over here. These are the notes that I kept when I was writing the thing. And there used to be a book. It used to say book right there, but it's not there anymore. So someone took it. Okay, let me get my head start and we'll start hiking. I don't think this is how it's supposed to go. I'll try again. I know this isn't how it's supposed to go either, but I think this is as good as it's gonna get. So let's go. Better hair, right? No hair. Let's go out there into the heat, into the desert. Let's go. See these rocks right here? This is where I usually set up my tent when I come if I can't find the actual place. There's my motorcycle, and then there's the ghost town over there. And over here is something called, I call it the Path of Wildness. It's easy to find. Course of a stream, leaves blown in the wind, the beasts track through the brush, and the direction of your first inclination. Now I have no idea why this is here. This used to be a town. It's a ghost town now, but it goes nowhere that way, and it goes nowhere that way, except into the desert. Mystery, huh? I bet some kids put it together. Maybe kids like you used to live here in this ghost town. Anyway, we're gonna go that way. Let's follow it this way. Off we go. There's no more trail, and then you're really, you're going for it now. You're on the Path of Wildness. Let's go. Oh, and I forgot to add, that Path of Wildness thing, that's on the picture too. Look for it on that little drawing on the first page of the book. You can see it. So is the railroad. This thing right here. It's on the drawing too. Now you can get an idea about where I am, right? Because the ghost town is back there. But don't do this. Don't go across tracks, kids. But I'm going to do it because I'm looking both ways. Oh, and here comes the damn train. There's actually a train coming. Ah! Let's get across. I don't want him to see me. Get in trouble. Go to jail. Or get run over by a train. Let's get up here and hide. What a way to start our adventure, huh? Get over this berm. And then they can't see us. Maybe too late, maybe they already saw me. Oh, it's coming close. Up. And over. Here comes the train. Listen, it'll make 4 horn sounds. Hoot, hoot, and a short one, hoot, and then a long one, hoot. Here we go. It just did one while I was switching the camera. That was number 2. Number 3. One more. I want them to see me. Well, remember, don't cross train tracks until you're older and grown and you can think about it, okay? It can be really dangerous. Anyway, now we're gonna carry on that way. This isn't working too well, is it? Okay, let's carry on that way, because I don't know how to tie it. Here we go. Yay! Into the desert proper. Into the wild, so to speak. Check this out. I found a little something. Right here on the ground. This is an old miner's tin. So the miners that used to come here, 100 years ago or so, would come here. It says on here on the top, LMSL Chicago, I think. LMSL certainly says Chicago, but look at that. It's chock full of sand. So it's been sitting here for, 60, 80, 100 years. And gradually the sandstorms have filled it up chock full with sand. And you can see how they use their old knife to cut a chink, chink, chink to get at whatever was in there. A little bit of the old welding point there. Interesting. So you see these, they're out here. They kind of wash down, flash floods wash these bits of debris down from the old mining camps that used to be up there. But there's no more mining camps anymore. That's all a thing of the past. And here's someone's bone. I wonder what, maybe it's a tree. That's probably a tree. It's bleached like a bone. I don't think that is a bone. It's coming apart like a bone. Interesting. Off we go. Okay, now we're on something I call the tongues of rock. This is where you can kind of begin to find hematite and petrified wood and a lot of other interesting things. Actually, I talk about this in the book that I sent your dad. This area here, it's a very interesting place from a perspective of geology. But the better stuff is farther up. But we'll walk along one of these tongues, and I found something to show you. Right down here, you see this big rock here? That's a big chunk of crystal. It's got a big piece broken off right here. A nice big, beautiful piece of crystal. And then look at this. You see all the veins in that? Isn't that amazing? Formed in a cavity deep in the earth when chemicals would wash in. And I always try to put the rocks back just the way I found them. Oh, look at that. Big old piece. Very, very sharp too. And all along here there's lots and lots of interesting stones. As you just walk along slowly, you can kind of begin to pick out interesting bits, and including, of course, hematite. There's one right there. Is that hematite? No, that's not, but it's interesting looking, isn't it? It's volcanic. This was shot out of a volcano, and there's a volcano right there. And you can almost see the cone. Let's take a zoom in on it. See how that's kind of the cone of a volcano? So this rock probably shot out of that volcano when it erupted. There's another volcano over there. And then another one way over there. And more over there. This whole area has lots of volcanoes. And that's a volcano bit sticking up over there too. But that's what that is. I'll put it back where I found it. I can't quite remember. And so the trick is to walk slowly. Kind of let your eyes scan the ground, and interesting things will pop up. And see how the rocks are almost fitted, almost like little tiles. This is called desert pavement, and it happens over thousands of years that the wind erodes away, wipes away the sand, and the pebbles fit together almost like someone placed them there. And there are some places about a mile up that way where it's astonishing. It really almost looks like a mosaic. Here's another broken bit of crystal. Here's some more. Look how this rock shattered here. This was once a solid rock, and then the ice came in the winter. A little water gets in the cracks, and the ice freezes and expands and cracks the rock. Lots and lots of little rocks cracked out open, as they call it, in situ, as they stood. I'll continue walking up, and we should be at some place where we could get some good stuff, I hope. Oh, I found something interesting. Look over there, against that little hillside there. There's a little wooden structure there. Some miners built that. It must have been to build a bridge or something. I'm not quite sure what they did. I remember encountering that years ago on a night hike through here. Okay, onward we go. I've stopped along the way. I found a desert plant that's got some flowers. Look at these. And look at the little the seeds. Don't they look a lot like beans? Well, I mean, they are beans of a sort, right? But they look kind of beans that you might have on your dinner table. don't need them unless you really know what the heck they are. But interesting, it is March, so we should begin to see more and more desert flowers blooming, especially after a few weeks after the rain. I think I see what might be a mylar balloon. People, we're about 100 miles from Los Angeles, a big city. People let the balloons go in the city, and they drift up over the mountains over there, much bigger mountains beyond that even. And they wind up out here. So this kind of plastic stays around for a long time. So whenever I find them, I try to pick them up, take them out. This is Let's Party. You gotta take them off carefully because the older they get, the bear. Let's party. It's a mouse. Chuck E. Cheese. All the way from Chuck E. Cheese into the desert. Now, to go into my backpack. Take it safely back. Carry on. Here's an interesting rock. Kind of reminds me of an abalone shell. You know, it's an abalone, that sea animal that lives on the rocks with these curves, holes. Isn't that interesting? I wonder how that was formed. I'm on another tongue of rock now, as you can see. You can see there's little spaces. There's a tongue there, and then there's a sandy wash there, and then there's another tongue over there, and another one beyond that. You can just follow them up, and I'm really not sure why or how these were formed, but they have a very interesting rocks on the top, and they get more interesting the further we go, the higher we go in elevation. So a little further we should be able to see. Look at this rock, and you can see how that one gets a boulder that is practically broken itself to pieces. Amazing. So many stories. Ooh, is that our first piece of petrified wood, perhaps? Let's see. I think that could be indeed be a piece of petrified wood. Look at that. See the lines? Those could be the veins in the tree. Here comes another train. Too far, you can't see me now. Two, and then two more honks. One short one. And one long one. But our destination is that way. Let's go. I just found a small piece of hematite. That's interesting, right there. See how it leaves the empty spot? Solid iron, 97% pure, from deep within the earth. I'm sure we'll find nicer ones, but I'll keep that for now. And here's another rock, just recently cracked. Recent is in, within the last couple 100 years maybe. But eventually, you can see the crack right there. Eventually it'll split open, continue its journey to becoming sand. Interesting. I just tripped over this rock here. You can see it left a little skid mark there. I came and put it back, and then I came back to take a video. Just wanted to point out that skid mark will be there after I'm dead, after you're all gone, after your kids are all gone. That mark will still be there. It takes hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years for the desert to look like this. And if we upset it in the least, it keeps that record. I'm in the sandy area between the tongues of rock, and I see another, this time a little balloon, or a piece of a balloon, more likely. Yeah. There's another little bit down there, although that's going to be hard to reach in there without damaging the plants. I'll just take this one. You can see something up there that looks like a little monument of some sort. Let's go see. Oh, and I was thinking about what I said before about the mark in the desert, and I was thinking, the desert is going to remember that you were here long after everyone else has forgotten about you. Every footstep we take makes a mark that will last. But even those things are not forever. Oh, Libby, Noah, look at this. There's a really nice specimen of hematite right there. Let's see if we can close it out. I'm shadowing it. Look at that. That is beautiful. That's really nice. What a luster, huh? Pretty big and heavy too. Nice. we'll keep that one unless we find something even better. Nice, first good find. Like I told you, the further we get up, the better they get. Also keep our eyes open for petrified wood. Old trees. This used to be a forest after all. A long time ago, in the age of dinosaurs. Even after that. All right, now we're entering the prime area if we're looking. That means deep breath, slow pace, careful eyes. Let's go. Let me show you what we're going into. Look at that. See how it's going from this more dispersed stuff to this really thick stuff. We're kind of mounds up. And there's similar mounds over there. We're quite a ways out from Siberia now, probably a mile. And it's just going to be like this all the way up. I've already found, I also found what might be a hand tool, an old primitive hand tool. Stone wood. Okay, let's continue up. So check out how much hematite we can find now. There's one right there. There's another one. There's one. There's one. Another one there, another one there, another one there. There's one there. Look at all of them here. It's all just scattered little hematite rocks everywhere. Oh, there's a nice one. Yeah, rounded one right there. That's pretty nice. Keep that. And it just gets more and more as we go. It's fun. All right, I'm finding some nice little bits. Let me show you. Look at this. This is a particularly interesting area. Look at how these rocks appear to be almost like someone placed them here, like in a Japanese Zen garden. I run across these every now and then. And you want to step very carefully here to not disturb any of them. But look at them all over here, especially when you get down low. Like, look at that one. Like in between all the rocks here. Looks like it's just placed there, like someone placed it there deliberately. And in amongst all of these, every so often, I can pick out petrified wood, not so much hematite, petrified wood bits. Sometimes that coloration kind of gives it away, but that's not quite it. I just love that it looks like a little garden. And I am finding some good little bits that are in my pockets. I'll sort them out later. There's another one of those rocks that's been split. Amazing. And that shine, that shine is a patina that comes from long exposure to the elements. It's called desert patina, like a gloss. Not having the best of luck finding hematite, but finding a few. I'll keep up the search. All right. Well, that was exciting. One of the things about the desert, Noah and Libby, is that it's dangerous. And I should know that. I've done this so many times, and I've had close calls many times. Maybe, well, not many, maybe 3 that I can remember. And this is number 4. This was not that bad. I'm fine. But I did get out there and I was exposed. And the heat started to make my hands swell. And I could feel myself kind of get a little delirium, a little ooh in the head. And I was like, oh boy, I overdid it. I overstayed my welcome. So what I did was I sat down. I was making a video at the time, a different video. I turned it off and I sat down, collected all my stuff, set myself up with clothing that would cover as much of skin as I can. And then I got out a water bottle and began to soak the top here to use the water to cool the head. Let the body, because it's not that I'm dehydrated, it's that the body can overheat. So instead of drinking the water, I put the water on this cloth, and it helps to evaporate it away. And then I began walking slowly and deliberately. Well, not too slowly, the same pace, but this is not panicking. The key is to not panic. And just on a deliberate manner, back towards Siberia. And I'm getting close. There's a bridge right over there. Not the usual bridge, not the one I showed you before, but a different one. And there's shade there. And I'll sit under the shade until my body cools down, and then I'll make my way home. But the good news is that I did get a good number of rocks, and well, when I get back, I'll sort them out, and I'm going to send you some fine specimens. So don't worry about me. This is part of what it takes sometimes, doing this kind of stuff. So I want you to learn from my lack of caution. Don't be scared. Don't be too scared, but don't not be scared. If you know what I mean. There's another way I like to say it in my books. I like to say, be safe, but not too safe. And this is an example of that. So I'm going to be fine, but I wasn't too safe, and the desert kind of slapped my wrist. Bad Kurt. All right, so take care, and thank you for joining me on this adventure. I'm so glad to have a chance to share this with you and get some neat rocks for the desert from you. And I hope that you will both stay healthy and safe in your own adventures. Okay, take care, Noah. Bye bye, Libby. Oh, it's coming close. There's a train coming. It's gonna go right over us. Wow, that was a long train, huh? Well, that indeed was a very long train. The trains out there in the desert tend to be more than a mile long, and they just go on forever. Especially at night, they really punctuate the experience with that silence. I mean, we had a lot of wind noise in that video, but the silence in the night when the wind stops is it's very deep, and when the trains come through, it kind of punctuates the experience. But anyway, I wanted to share with you the rocks that I got for you and that I'm going to be sending you. So first, let me show you the hematite that I got for you. So there's 2 specimens. Now, I wasn't able to get as far out as I wanted to. I wanted to go deeper. There was a spot that had even better hematite, but the heat drove me back, so unfortunately. So sometimes that happens in life. But I've got one for each of you. You guys can sort them out. And this is, a piece of hematite. I like this one particularly. It has a little vein in there. I don't know. Well, it's not a vein because it wasn't formed that way, but a very nice little ridge on there. There you can see it quite nicely like that. That kind of interesting. And this one is interesting. They're both special. This one is special because it has that little ridge. This one, you can't really quite see, the light doesn't really show, but it has little bits of copper in there, little glints of copper. It's very nice in that capacity. So of the specimens that I found on the hike that I did, these were my 2 favorites. So I'm going to send these to you, Libby and Noah. And I also found some really interesting specimens of petrified wood, which is basically a fossil. It's fossil wood. This is a piece of a tree. Now, long ago, that desert you just saw me hiking through, long ago that was a conifer forest. So, pine trees and things like that. And there were, believe it or not, at that time there was a giant lake out there. The place where I was under the bridge, that would have been probably about 200 feet underwater. There was a great lake there. It was giant. And around the lake was a forest, and there were animals, surprising animals that actually lived in that forest. There were camels, believe it or not. Camels actually originated in North America. So this is where camels came from at that time. There were giant ground sloths living in the forest in that area around there. There were mammoths, woolly mammoths, or maybe they were mastodons actually. So a type of an elephant. So camels, elephants, giant ground sloths. Sloths that are up in the trees. Hang upside down, but giant ones, big ones. Saber-toothed tigers were there. And all kinds of other things. They're called megafauna, the big megafauna and the forest. Now, that was a time when there was a lot more rain in that area. There were lakes, like I said, rivers, streams, and there were people too. So there were human beings that were there that were hunting them. Now, the animal part went way back further. The humans came a little bit later, and the humans killed off a lot of the big animals. Anyway, this is a remnant of a tree. Now, it's not really coming too well in this video. Maybe you can kind of see it. You can kind of see the lines. But here, if you look here closer, you can see the tree rings going along here. Isn't that interesting? Like that. Anyway, this is a really nice piece of petrified wood. I'm going to send that to you. Here's another nice specimen of petrified wood. Kind of see the wood bark there. I think that's the inner bark there. And then you can see the rings. A gentle curve to it, so it's a much bigger tree. Here's another one right here. Well, actually, this is just a piece that I found that had an interesting crystal formation in there. I like that. And then this one, I just like this. I wasn't so sure what this rock was, but I just kind of like the look of it. I'll send that to you. And then one more. My dog wants to go for a walk. You ready to go for a walk? Okay. This may or may not be. Probably may not be, but use your imagination. An actual stone tool. There were humans that lived out there, and there are some theories that the humans were making stone tools. Some of those theories have lately been debunked. That's the thing. You got to kind of go with where the reality takes you, right, in terms of it. So there's a place called the Calico Early Man Site. And when I was in school, they taught us that that's where humans were making stone tools. Maybe not so much. Anyway, use your imagination. This may or may not have been a primitive stone knife with the bits flaked off. You can imagine a human being taking one rock and knocking it against another, knocking pieces off to create sharp edges. So when I put it in my hand, it fits quite nicely. There's a place for my thumb here. There's a place for my index finger up here. My other finger fits nicely there, and it leaves me with a little scraping edge. So if I killed an animal, I could be cutting its skin off using this. I don't know, I'm not saying it really is a tool, but it sure did. It stood out to me. I looked there and went, wow. And it's not very far from that Calico early man site where we know that human beings, well, there are some people believe that human beings were creating these things some time back. I'll send that to you as well. Thanks for joining me on this adventure, Noah and Libby. I'm really glad that you could do that. And you've got a very special family. And I wish you all the best. And remember, no crossing those railroad tracks, okay? Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.